Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local, verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We start this week with some US-centric news. I'm sorry, rest of the world. Namely that the incoming President Trump administration is almost certainly now confirmed to be rolling back EV purchase incentives. As reported late on Thursday, literally just before we filmed this show, Reuters reported that sources close to the presidential transition team have confirmed that the head of that team, someone with deep ties to the fossil fuel industry, is spearheading a plan to eliminate federal EV tax incentives and other pro-EV policies as soon after the inauguration as possible. Supported by Elon Musk, which Reuters reports is in favour of ending the credits and has previously stated that while they will hurt Tesla a little, will cripple Tesla's competition, it's expected a reconciliation bill to be pushed through the House soon after inauguration that will gut all green energy incentives and pro-EV policies with almost immediate effect. Tesla hasn't issued a public statement on the matter, but if you think Elon Musk would protect EVs, maybe it's time to rethink that outlook. As the outcome of the US presidential election is being reckoned with around the world, Elon Musk has featured prominently in the news thanks to the role he's been nominated for. Nominated alongside former presidential primary hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy to head a new department, the Department of Government Efficiency, yes, that spells Doge, Elon Musk's connections to the incoming White House seem to have boosted Tesla's stock price, with Tesla soaring in value on the stock market this week. While I am not passing judgment, many outlets, including Electrek, have suggested the rise in value is not tied to Tesla's performance per se, but to a, quote, hope for corruption, end quote. Namely that with Elon Musk in a government role, Tesla will be given preferential treatment when it comes to import tariffs and the like. But it's not just Tesla's stock that's soaring on Elon's close ties to a man who has a long history of anti-EV and anti-green rhetoric. What is it? The Mad Puffer Stickers shop, which has been producing bumper stickers for Tesla drivers who may not share Elon Musk's current political views but already own Teslas. Apparently business has never been better for the Hawaii firm. It's no secret that many Western brands are struggling to gain traction in the electric vehicle market in China, with many well-established brands losing out to China's massive wave of new EV companies. This week in Shanghai, Audi, in collaboration with SAIC, unveiled a new brand that aims to tackle that head-on, alongside the first concept car for said brand. Enter AUDI. Not to be confused with Audi, there are no rings in the badge, just capital letters, and the AUDI E-Concept. It features all-wheel drive, a 100 kilowatt-hour, 800-volt battery pack, and both a 3.6-second sprint time and a claimed 700-kilometre range on the Chinese test cycle. It also, according to Audi's press release, quote, drives like a real Audi, end quote. I'm not sure that's what you really should be saying of a new sub-brand, guys. Hyundai has finally released specs and pricing in the US for its 2025 model year IONIQ 5 EV, which will be the first Hyundai EV to come with a NACS connector. Obviously, that NACS inlet will allow IONIQ 5 models to rock up at Tesla superchargers and use them without needing an adapter. But that's not really the most important thing about this new model year refresh. What's more important to me is improved range across the board and a new 63 kilowatt-hour standard range battery pack and 84 kilowatt-hour long-range variant. In its most efficient guise, a single-motor long-range variant, this means 318 miles, 512 kilometres are now possible per charge. There's also now a dual-motor XRT variant with an off-road inspired trim and a 0.9-inch suspension lift. And every 2025 IONIQ 5 will be made in Georgia, USA, meaning it will be eligible for $3,750 in federal tax credits, assuming that they continue. Prices start from just under $44,000 before incentives and delivery charges. Continuing its rollout of high-end luxury electric vehicles, Cadillac just revealed its 2026 model year Vistiq this week, with a sticker price poking $80,000. Built on the Ultium platform, it's a 3-row full-size SUV that features a 102 kilowatt-hour battery pack combined with a 452 kilowatt all-wheel drivetrain that Cadillac says will offer around 300 miles, 482 kilometers of range per charge. There's also a 3.7-second sprint time, and Cadillac says that the Vistiq will offer a lot of the same styling and features as its bigger sibling, the Cadillac Escalade IQ. And it also gets active rear still functionality of other larger Ultium-based EVs, at least. It's available as an optional extra. Cadillac says the Vistiq will start production early next year and will initially be sold in the US and Canada, but with Cadillac also available in some European countries, not to mention Australia and Aotearoa New Zealand, I think it's conceivable that availability will spread depending on demand. From one expensive car to another now, I am sorry, all expensive ones. I just report the news. We're heading to Porsche next, where the brand has just unveiled its new 2025 lineup of Taycan EVs. Being portrayed by Porsche as its second-generation Taycan, there's a whole host of different tweaks under the hood, or should that be under the floor, and there are now 16 different Taycan variants on offer. The new Taycan 4 sports sedan brings impressive all-wheel drive range to the Taycan sedan at a lower-end price point, while the new Taycan GTS promises truly ridiculous amounts of power for its size, with 515 kilowatts at the wheels when in boost mode. Thanks to tweaks made across the lineup, every 2025 Taycan gets a range boost and improvements to efficiency, with most models gaining ranges well in excess of 600 kilometers, 370 miles per charge on the WLTP test cycle. Polestar made some pretty big changes to its vehicle lineup for 2025 this week, ditching some of the Polestar 2 models and increasing choice in its Polestar 3 instead. In North America, Polestar has decided to drop all but one Polestar 2 variant for next year, with the Polestar 2 only due to come in all-wheel drive performance variant, with no single-motor rear-wheel drive option available on the table. Polestar 2 customers will get a more powerful variant with less range for $66,200, far more than the cost of the outgoing single-motor variant. At the same time, however, Polestar just announced a new rear-wheel drive version of Polestar 3 for next year, with substantially improved range over the all-wheel drive variant, increasing the standard range variant to 315 miles, 507 kilometers per charge. The starting price of this model drops the entry-level point to just under $69,000 before fees. If you lease, as with other EVs, you can also get the federal tax credit. COP29 started this week as if everything else going on in the world wasn't enough, and the event, hosted by oil-rich nation Azerbaijan, made headlines. Let's start with the president of Azerbaijan, who said reports of the nation's high emissions were nothing but Western fake news, adding that nations should not be blamed for having fossil fuel reserves because they were a gift from God that should be used. Then Argentina, whose far-right leader has called climate change a socialist lie, pulled its negotiators out of proceedings, and then France pulled some of its negotiators out because they were accused of colonial sins by Azerbaijan. But hey, some people are trying hard to fire warning alarms. The International Energy Agency released a report this week warning that governments are already falling behind the promises they made last year at COP28. But don't worry, there is still time to get on the right track. And as a side note, Rivian CEO Ajay Scaringe called on the world to act now on climate change to protect our planet for our children and their children. Given the political climate right now, we suspect his pleas, published in a memo and a YouTube video, will just be ignored by many people. Facing lowering demand for vehicles caused in part by changes in incentive policies in countries like Germany, Ford has dramatically cut production at its EV facility in Cologne. According to local newspapers in Germany, the company has told production line staff that they will be alternating 1 week on with 1 week off as Ford deals with what it calls a set of rapidly deteriorating market conditions for EVs. It's worth noting that the facility, which produces Ford EVs built on the Volkswagen MEB platform, had only just begun production of the all-new Ford Capri EV, which launched just last month. Ford's Explorer EV, which started production in June, has also been faced with tough competition from Chinese brands. This is yet another bit of bad news for Ford, which is due to stop producing the F-150 Lightning at its Rouge production facility in the US for nearly 2 months starting next week, due to similar disparities between production numbers and demand. But while many Western brands are struggling to remain competitive, Chinese EV market continues to soar, with nary a week going by without talk of increased EV demand there. And this week, it's the turn of Xiaomi, which has just celebrated building its 100,000th XU7, 230 days after the very first one rolled off the production line. For any automaker, this kind of production ramp-up would be considered pretty aggressive for a new EV. But it's worth noting that the XU7 is Xiaomi's very first vehicle. The brand had originally planned to produce just 60,000 examples in its first year of production, equating to 164 cars per day, assuming 24/7 operation. Its output so far has reached the equivalent of 434 cars per day, meaning its annual capacity has already reached nearly 159,000 cars per year. Meanwhile, in its first year of production of Model S, Tesla managed around 23,000 units. That fact alone highlights the potential for China to eat the face of every other country's EV production goals. Our shorts are coming next, but first, a word from today's video sponsor, EnergySage. EnergySage helps homeowners connect with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. I used EnergySage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our EnergySage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. So follow the links below to sign up for either of EnergySage's free, no-obligation services and get that ball rolling today. And with uncertainty surrounding the future of clean energy credits at the hands of the new Trump administration, there really is no better time to sign up. If you choose to use an EnergySage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support the channel. It's a win-win-win. And now, it's time for shorts. Tesla has issued a recall for around 2,000 Cybertrucks to address an issue with an inverter on affected vehicles that can lead to power loss. Unlike many recalls which amount to OTA updates, this one requires a service centre appointment for inverter replacement. A to Z has recalled its version 1 CCS to NACS Typhoon adapters, replacing affected units with V2 ones free of charge. A to Z says Tesla raised alleged concerns regarding the locking mechanism and edge use case high current operation. Despite 0 reported failures, it's opted for a recall due to a lack of mutual agreement between it and Tesla on the matter. Mercedes-Benz has been teasing its upcoming CLA EV with a series of videos and technical teasers online. This week we learned that the CLA EV will feature a dual-speed automatic transmission similar to that found in the Porsche Taycan for added energy efficiency. With Tesla's Cybertruck inventory numbers starting to increase and its backlog now officially worked through, it's tweaking its lease pricing to get more people behind the wheel. With $7,500 down, you can get a dual-motor version for less than $1,000 a month. It's official. General Motors is preparing its production facilities for the launch of the second-generation Chevrolet Bolt EV family, with news that it will be retiring production of the Cadillac XT4 to make room for a new Bolt family vehicle, which will enter production next year. Volkswagen-owned Cariad has paired up with TomTom to bring a new next-generation navigation system to Volkswagen Group EVs. Due to launch in next-generation Audi EV models, it will feature terrain-aware EV route planning and range management. While the Kia Niro EV is now being pulled from markets where the EV3 is on sale, the US market is keeping the Niro EV for 2025, with new pricing released this week. The entry-level variant will start from just under $40,000. Japan Airlines, working with Sumitomo Corporation, has announced a new joint venture called Soris that will focus on offering e-VTOL aircraft in Japan. The joint venture has announced its intent to buy $500 million of Archer Midnight e-VTOL craft. Škoda has announced its plans to bring its Enyaq EV to India next year, making its official EV entry into the Indian marketplace. The model, due to be domestically made for the Indian market, will be a new facelifted design that will be substantially different from the one currently on sale in Europe. If you're a Renault customer in the UK, you could get a year's worth of free charging with your EV, not just in public, but at home, thanks to a partnership with Octopus Energy. It utilises a new smart grid tariff that pairs up with the Mobilize Smart Charge app on the Renault system. Rivian and LG Energy Solutions have entered into a 5-year battery supply deal that will see Rivian buy LG Energy battery packs for use in future models. The supply contract will start around 2026, with 46 series cylindrical cells coming from a new facility in Arizona. Street Scooter's last vehicles have officially rolled off the production line in Germany. While the company itself has been saved from bankruptcy, its new owner, the brand's original inventor, is shifting street scooter production from Germany to Thailand instead. Vauxhall has officially priced the new Mokka EV in the UK, with deliveries due to start in early 2025. The entry-level version of the Mokka EV will start from £33,245 sterling, complete with charging credits. Lucid posted its third quarter financials this week, showing a massive loss of $992.5 million. However, thanks to continued investment from Saudi Arabia, Lucid says it has plenty of cash to last it well into 2026. Livewire, partnering with Q&Co, has unveiled a set of electric maxi scooter concepts that preview Livewire's first production maxi scooter when it launches in 2026. The concepts include street-friendly and more rugged-looking models. The city of Paris has officially established a restricted zone in its city centre that bans private cars from entering. It's part of a massive plan from the city to reduce traffic in the city and reclaim streets for residents. Traffic is expected to be reduced by 30%. ABB E-Mobility was celebrating its official installation of its first A400 all-in-one charging station in North America this week. A versatile dual-headed charging station, it can support power transfer rates of up to 400 kilowatts, dynamically shared by 2 head units. Canadian battery recycling specialist Li-Cycle has been awarded a $475 million US Department of Energy conditional loan to help it continue construction work on a massive battery recycling facility in Rochester, New York. VinFast has secured a $1.4 billion loan from its parent company VinGroup, as well as received an additional $2.1 billion gift from its company CEO. According to the brand, this is to help it achieve a break-even point and cash flow positive by the end of 2026. The last potential buyer for the Brussels Audi plant, where the Audi Q8 e-tron has been produced, has pulled out, leaving the factory's future very much unknown. Audi confirmed earlier this year that it would be shuttering the facility and stopping Q8 e-tron production. Bentley has announced a new strategic plan it's calling Beyond 100 Plus. It's a plan to transition it to an all-electric brand by 2035, and it will start with the launch of what Bentley says will be the world's first luxury urban SUV EV sometime in 2026. Stellantis and Leapmotor are rumoured to be looking at starting production of the just-revealed Leapmotor B10 in Germany. While the T03 is already being produced in Poland, Reuters says the B10 could see its production move to Germany instead. As Tesla sales in Europe tank, it's bringing back the promise of free supercharging for new Model Y customers. If you order before the end of the year, you'll get 1 year of free supercharging bundled with your purchase. The Indian government has launched a new EV as a service program for its internal government ministries, designed to make it easier for them to pick electric vehicles for fleet operation instead of gasoline vehicles. Official sales data for China reveals that 1.43 million new energy vehicles were sold in the country during October. The lion's share of those vehicles, 842,000, were battery electric vehicles, with the rest being plug-in hybrids. Lucid has unveiled a specially designed police cruiser variant of the Lucid Air that's undergone testing with the California Highway Patrol. While the car made it through the testing program, it's not clear if Lucid will become an official vehicle supplier for the service. Toyota has stated that California's new emission standards are, quote, impossible to meet. Talking at a virtual roundtable on the standards this past week, Toyota's North American COO portrayed the goals as impossible and unfair. We should expect appeals and legal action. Chevy owners in Texas are now being given the opportunity to get free overnight charging if they have Reliant as their utility of choice. Customers will receive credits on their electricity bill for power used between 11 at night and 6 in the morning. Just 1 week after the US presidential election, the newest pick for the EPA head under future President Donald Trump has officially promised to roll back EPA regulations made in the last few years. To date, he's received around $300,000 in lobbyist money from the oil and gas industry. Waymo has officially opened up its robotaxi service to anyone in Los Angeles, removing its previous requirement that you needed an invite code to sign up to use it. While the service is no longer restricted in this way, its coverage area remains the same as it was previously. Hertz has confirmed that it intends to continue to sell off its electric vehicle portfolio through the next year as it deals with massive depreciation associated primarily with its Tesla rental fleet. It says it's on track to execute its fleet changeover by the end of next year. EVgo has posted record third quarter results, showing record revenue of $67.5 million, up 92% year over year. It finished the quarter with a 1.2 million user database across its network, with triple-digit growth over the last 7 quarters. Zoox has started testing its pod-based robotaxis in San Francisco. Looking a little like the Cruise Origin, the robotaxis have already been in operation in both Las Vegas and Foster City, California, but now they're being tested in the larger San Francisco area. Enphase has laid off 17% of its workforce around the world and has announced that its Mexican production facility is being shuttered. It says it will continue manufacturing in the US, India and China, and denied that the change was down to results of the US election. The Kia EV3 has officially started deliveries in Europe. As part of the celebrations of its launch, Kia has reiterated that the EV3 has received tweaks to make it more appealing to European driving styles and tastes when compared to its Korean market counterpart. The Australian Parliament has passed legislation to allow electric vehicles to make use of V2G and bidirectional charging station technology to help stabilise the electrical grid. The proposed changes should be ready as early as Christmas, just in time for summer heat waves. Hitachi Rail has completed the first round of testing of a new intercity battery train in the north of England. Working alongside Angel Trains and the Trans-Pennine Express, the train proved itself more than capable of handling the route and outperformed diesel trains too. Rivian and Volkswagen have officially begun their joint partnership, with Palo Alto becoming home to an initial joint centre where engineers from both firms will work together to develop a software-defined platform for future EV models across both brands. And finally, for the shorts, Mercedes is offering dealers in the US incentives for every Mercedes-Benz EQ model sold. Through the end of this year, it's offering dealerships $2,000 for every EQ model they sell, with additional bonuses for hitting targets. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Our final 2 stories are next, but first, a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That is exactly what Atmos does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today, because it's committed to investing 100% into clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate can go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees, and there are no minimums keeping you awake at night. It offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the links below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And since every sign-up supports this channel, it means that we can keep bringing you the content you enjoy. I'm personally a customer, and I love knowing that I'm helping save money while making sure my money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. And as always, thanks to Atmos for sponsoring the show. And now it's time for those last 2 stories. While the majority of the auto industry is pushing towards a future where everything inside the vehicle is based on touchscreen and capacitive touch buttons, there's a backlash coming. As we've noted plenty on the channel, it's often difficult to access functions of a vehicle's touchscreen without looking at it is a safety concern, even in vehicles with semi-autonomous driving tech. And now it appears that Hyundai is in agreement. It's just completed a massive focus group study in which physical buttons were given a far higher priority by potential customers than touchscreens. Hyundai says that customers expressed frustration at not being able to control things easily in vehicles with touchscreens instead of physical buttons, and that's led it to plan a future where physical buttons will be making a comeback. The IONIQ 5 has already reintroduced some buttons for 2025, and more are on the way. And finally, if the last few weeks have made you wonder what the point is of pushing towards a cleaner, greener future when folks are seemingly pushing back just as hard to keep pollution rocking on, I think the last story for today will help you feel a little better. That's because consulting firm Accenture has just completed a new comprehensive survey into global attitudes towards EVs, and the results are hopeful. According to its study, more than 1/2 of the drivers asked around the world state that they expect to be driving an electric vehicle within the next decade, with 54% of US consumers saying they'd switch. That's more than the 37% of Germans who said they'd switch, but far less than the 65% of Chinese drivers who said they expected to be EV drivers within 10 years' time. Sure, there are hurdles, but For those who are worried that the EV industry is in its decline, this should help dispel the myth that nobody wants electric, because that is definitely not true. And on that note, we are done with today's show. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for EVs since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And if you are someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, whatever it was, good job. Congrats. If you'd like to support the channel directly, please support us using Patreon from $1 a month, which is about $10.08 a year, or of course you can also visit our swag store. We are viewer supported because we passionately believe the information we produce should be free to everyone at point of use, and thanks to changes in how YouTube does the whole ad revenue thing, our income has gone down about 10% this year, so if you do support, thank you. I'm not exaggerating when I say that you really make this all possible. You really do. We'll be back next week as usual with content going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And to finish, remember that you are valid, you are important and you are loved. And you have a place in this world, especially if you are facing down the metaphorical barrel of a dark, distorted future where your existence may be criminalised or worse. I'm going to assume that for many watching, the last couple of weeks have been hard. I know it's been hard for me and for the team at this channel. And I am not going to lie, at one point this last week, I had wondered what the point of it all was. But if so many people have so much hate and so many marginalised people are now at risk, I think we have but one answer. Continue to exist just to spite them. If that sounds like you, then congratulations, because you are now part of the culture. I have wanted to be for a very long time. And if your existence makes it harder for hate to thrive, it's important. So remember that, please. So until next time, stay safe, regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, be that positive change you want to see in the world. And please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. Instead, just keep evolving.